excellent question. How do we afford it? Because obviously buying everything organic and whole real foods is not always the cheapest option. Hi guys, it's Amanda with Eat Pray Crunch. I've had a lot of people just in my life ask me, this diet is great and all, but how do you afford it? And that is an excellent question. First of all, if you don't know what diet I'm talking about, be sure to check out my previous videos below where I talk all about the kind of food that we eat and why we eat it and the principles behind it and all of that. Be sure to check that out in the video description below. But yes, excellent question. How do we afford it? Because obviously buying everything organic and whole real foods is not always the cheapest option. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to go about that while still being financially responsible. So there are a few points that I'll go over on tips and tricks that I have come across to eat this way more affordably. But first, let me just say, when we changed our diet, we basically changed our overall worldview on how we view food and the importance of it. And it was kind of a values shift. And so we decided that it was really important for us to be spending a little bit more money on food now, because then we'll be spending less on medical bills later, you know what I mean? And so if you've been watching any of my other videos, you also know that Bill and I call each other cheap and cheaper. We are incredibly frugal. We are very careful with our money. We don't spend money frivolously very often. We buy most of our stuff used, like clothes, furniture, like baby stuff, almost all of it we buy used. If you ever watched the Duggars, you know, their little mantra is, you know, buy used, save the difference. And like, that's actually something that I really resonate with them with, is that mantra, because it's really true. I think we save a lot of money by living simply and frugally. And that leaves extra for us to spend a little bit more on food. You kind of have to have a values shift and just think, how important is food to me or to my family? And is it worth the long-term health investment? For us, it definitely is. If you see in my previous videos, you'll know why, because of the positive health changes it's made in our lives. That said though, we don't want to just completely go nuts and, you know, buy the most expensive food we could possibly find at the store either. I do really still try to be as conscious as I can of spending as little money as I can on food while still eating this diet. So, principle number one, the first thing that we do that helps us really save money is that we have a garden, a vegetable garden. Bill has a green thumb, thankfully, because I don't. But we get the vast majority of our produce from our own garden all throughout the summer and fall. And we actually have some fruit trees, and we made a video on our container garden that we did this last summer. So be sure to check that out in the link below, and how to do an easy vegetable garden in your backyard, or even if you don't have a yard, how you can do it in containers. So be sure to check that video out below. But definitely when you're growing your own food, then you're not paying for it. So, and it is also the most nutritious possible food that you can get because it's growing in your own yard and you can grow it organically and simply. Principle number two, buy things in bulk. Buy whole foods in the bulk section at the store. So when you're buying grains and legumes and nuts, get those in bulk. When it comes to meat, you can find a local farm that raises grass-fed cows, and you can actually buy a whole cow. Or, obviously, not everybody has that kind of storage space. I mean, you do have to have extra freezer space to do this, but you can get a whole half or a quarter cow, and it comes completely butchered. But buying it that way is way cheaper than getting grass-fed meat from the grocery store. We, you know, got a quarter of a cow and freeze it, got a huge discount from just buying it straight from the farm and cutting out the middleman. And same with buying raw milk. Yes, it is expensive, but if you get it straight from the farm, it's going to be a lot cheaper than buying it retail. So that is definitely another way to save money. And if you can't buy straight from a farm, consider farmers markets as well. In the spring and fall, almost everybody has access to farmers markets, no matter where you live. There are farmers markets everywhere. And that is also cutting out the middleman, because you're buying them straight from the farmer, but they're just at the little market. So that is definitely a way to get foods straight from the farm at a much more discounted price. Next point is avoid corporate health food stores like Whole Foods. They will rip you off. There is a reason it's called Whole Paycheck. What we've done is we've actually found a local food co-op that's near our house. And I bet if you research, you can just go on Google Maps, that's how we found ours. You can find a local food co-op that's close to you. Usually these are little independent stores. And often they sell things without the huge markup that the big natural food stores add to their prices. They're much more reasonable in price. And they also have a lot of discounts. If you become a member, like for example, I get 10% off a full purchase once a month. That's huge. So if I do a huge grocery run, and then I get 10% off all of that, that's huge. And also for members, they have all of these discounts throughout the store. So if you're really conscious to buy just the things that they have on sale for members, you can really save a lot that way as well. Another thing is, while you're there, also pay attention to like the organic brands. There's usually like a generic organic brand. You can get like the main organic brands, and there's like the store or like generic organic brands. If you pay attention to the difference in the price between the generic and like the main brands, you can still get organic stuff for significantly cheaper. So if you are paying attention to which brands you're getting, look for the cheapest prices on whatever it is. There's usually a bunch of different, you know, for example, if you're getting a can of beans, like look at all the different kinds and see which kind is the cheapest and go with that one. Of the organic variety, for example. Next is, you know, this is just the principle that I've talked about in my introduction to our diet videos, is just you don't want to be eating processed food anyway. So when you cut out buying processed food, it will significantly reduce your grocery bill. Like I remember once we changed our diet this way and I went to the store, I was like, I'm actually spending a lot less money because I'm not paying for all of these processed foods. Like it's a lot cheaper to just buy whole ingredients. There are times when you do need to get processed food. Like I will admit that, you know, we do our 80-20 rule 20% of the time. We don't follow it strictly. You know, there are nights when you just need a quick dinner or whatever. But most of the time, if you have decided that food is a worthwhile investment for your family, you also decide that it's a worthwhile time investment as well. You're not getting everything pre-prepared, so you do have to take the time to turn all these whole ingredients into a meal. And so that is a time investment, but it is so worth it for the money you save and for the health benefits anyway, since we shouldn't be eating processed food anyway. But that said, if you do need to get a little bit of processed food, Costco has some great options for like frozen dinners that are actually excellent ingredients. I actually found this thing the other day that was like a quinoa. It was frozen, but it was like quinoa and kale and some vegetables. I was like, this is awesome. This has awesome whole ingredients and it's processed, and it does cost a little more, but if you need to get that, Costco is a good option for that. And you can just like add in a little meat to that or whatever. We also, like a quick dinner that we do is the brand Aidells sausage. It's like nitrate free and all that. And if we need a quick dinner, we'll heat one of those up and eat it hot dog style, like on a sprouted grain bun or something. With whole ingredients too, Costco actually does have a really good organic selection. It's gotten better and better over the years that I've noticed. And so you can definitely get like bulk size of organic produce there as well, which is awesome. And the final thing is to think outside the box. For example, you know, one of the principles of eating a traditional diet is to eat like more organ meats. And interestingly enough, those meats are way cheaper because nobody wants them, right? And so if you go to the natural food store in the frozen section, they will usually have things like liver and giblets, and also for making bone broth. You can get the byproducts of natural organic chicken and like grass-fed cow bones, that kind of thing, and they are dirt cheap, and you can make an incredibly nutritious bone broth from those things for like, I mean, you can get a package of bones for like $2 or $3. It's so cheap. And you're getting incredible nutrition from that. And it's coming from a good source as well. So be sure to check out the frozen meat section for like organ meats and bones and that kind of thing. So that's just an example of how you can think outside the box to get a lot more bang for your buck, nutritionally speaking. Anyway, that's it. Those are my principles for how to eat a real food traditional diet on a budget. So like I said, you do have to have a bit of a values shift in how you spend your money, because it does cost a little bit more to eat this way, but it doesn't have to be through the roof. It definitely can be done without going bankrupt, and there are ways to buy these kinds of foods inexpensively. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that answers some of your questions, because I have had a lot of people ask me that, how on earth do you afford it? And that is how we do it. Anyway, so if you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more on this series or pregnancy vlogs or talking about money or any points of interest, that kind of thing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in my next video. Thanks guys, bye.